Alright, I'm gonna try and make this video in 1 or 2 takes just because I'm driving and I'm kind of fed up with me not making this video. I didn't really even want to make this video specifically, but I wanted to make a video, just get my feet wet. And I'm gonna put this under a new channel because I don't really want people I know to like watch this. This isn't really for them. I don't know what the channel's going to be called yet or anything like that, but yeah, people, my friends and family have my name and they can just look up my YouTube. I don't really want that. But I was driving and I just wanted to make a video about why I got into Linux. To start, I've known about it. It's because my dad, he was always trying to get me into IT, and he was showing me how to use VMs and stuff, and he gave me a Linux book one time too. I never read it until recently. He actually gave me multiple Linux books, but the one I actually did read recently just because I was actually into it now. I think I was just too young back then. I had to be like 14 years old, 13, I don't know. It just wasn't interesting to me back then. All I wanted to do was play games. But yeah, basically, I got a computer when I was in 8th grade, I think. Yeah, so I had to be like 13 when he gave me a book. But I got a computer when I was 13. I actually had an old ThinkPad of my dad's back in the day, and I used that like every, here and there. He gave it to me because he upgraded his work, gave him computers. But yeah, I got it and I started dabbling in a little bit of gaming. I'd play Overwatch and Fortnite on it, and I was like, hey, I like using the mouse and keyboard. Back then, Xbox and PlayStation, they didn't have that on console, so I was like, hey, or actually, they might have, but if they did, it was whatever it was. It just was not cutting it for me. So I was like, hey, I want a computer now. So it was 2018. I built my first rig, and it's actually mostly the same. I wouldn't say mostly the same. I had a Ryzen 3 3200G and RX 580, 8GB, and I think I had 32 gigs of RAM. I had a Corsair water cooler. Nowadays, I've upgraded the CPU twice. I went to a Ryzen 5 3600, and now I have a Ryzen 7 5600, I think. I'm not totally sure. I can't even remember. And I have a RX 6600 XT, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So I built my first computer, and that was cool and all. But when I was growing up, I always wanted, like I'm sure most kids, I just wanted to make a video game like that. That's what I wanted to do for a profession. I'd say most kids. A decent amount of kids probably wanted to do that. But that got me, in the door of like programming and whatnot. And I did a little bit of that. Not too crazy much about programming. I never got too good at it. Just because it was hard to learn, especially as I was pretty young. I was a high schooler. I was playing a lot of sports, and it wasn't working out that well. So I kind of dropped the whole computer thing for a while. So I got out of high school, went to community college, and my goal was actually to be a computer science major, which really didn't last too long. I did liberal arts at community college, just because it'll transfer. It did transfer to the school that I ended up going to really well, just all my gen eds. But when I was picking schools, I was playing baseball, and it was honestly kind of dumb at the moment, but it worked out really well. I I wanted to do computer science, IT, or cybersecurity. I had no idea what cybersecurity was back then. I mean, I do now, but yeah, I didn't really care which one I did. I just knew I wanted to play with computers all day. And how it ended up working out was I went to a school that had all three, and I really just looked at the salaries, and I was like, well, guess I'm choosing cybersecurity. Especially with like the rise in AI and all that. Back then I was a little scared, like, oh, if I do computer science, like, I'm just not gonna have a job. Yeah, so a little prior to that, you know, I dabbled in Linux here and there, you know, like most people that are into it at all. You know, you download Ubuntu when you're like 14, and you're just like, oh, this is kind of dumb, I can't play games on it. And that was it for me for the longest time. But when I was a sophomore at community college, I decided, like, just randomly one day, I don't even know what went through my head. I was just like, hey, I'm gonna dual boot Linux. So I did a little bit of research, and for whatever reason, my brain was like, we're gonna use Solus OS. To this day, I don't know anything about Solus. Beyond that, like, month that I dual booted, that's the only knowledge I have of it. I don't know what distro it's based off of. I'm assuming it's probably based off of Ubuntu. But yeah, I dual booted for a little bit, forgot about it, and it was whatever. I think it was June of this year. I decided that, or I didn't decide anything. June of this year, I was on my computer, and I found out, like, hey, I should probably upgrade to Windows 11 soon, because why not, right? And my computer that I built in 2018, still using the same motherboard. I got a new CPU, but I don't have a TPM chip, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to get around it. I did not mess with computers, like, really at all. I thought I knew what I was doing. I didn't know anything. But I couldn't get around it, so I was like, screw it, we're gonna dual boot Linux. So I had Mint dual booted for, it was honestly probably 2 days that I was on a dual boot, and finally I was just like, I'm gonna be better off if I just stop playing online games, because that was the only thing holding me back, playing online games. I wanted to play Fortnite, I wanted to play Call of Duty, Valorant, all that. That's the only thing that was keeping me from going over. When I really looked into Proton, and I realized, like, hey, I can play all my single player games good. I needed to get off of the multiplayer games anyways, you know, it's just a time waster. I wanted to play these single player games, and I couldn't, just because I spent all my time playing those. And so I was just like, all right, we're gonna rest of my hard drive is gonna be on Linux, and that's how it's gonna be. And at that point, I had an M.2 with the Linux, with Linux Mint on it, and my SATA drive had Windows on it, because it's always had Windows on it. So I wiped the SATA drive. It's like, I'm going all in now, and that's where it started. So I ran Mint for a while, and I heard about this thing called Catchy OS. So I was like, all right, we're gonna try this out. At the same time, my main laptop still ran Windows 11, just because I needed a backup. And I was given a MacBook. It had the screen on it. I'll probably put a picture up. The screen is busted. That's why it was given to me. But I didn't really mind. So then I decided, all right, we're gonna take this MacBook, not my MacBook. We're gonna take my laptop, and we're gonna put Linux on it. And I distro hopped on that one for a little bit before I finally settled on Fedora. I ran GNOME, for a while, and now I run KDE on it. Then I had a 2011 MacBook Air. It was my dad's. It was just laying around collecting dust. He hadn't used it in years. I went on iFixit. I bought an SSD for it, like 128 gigabytes, I think. Nothing too crazy. So I took that, and what did I run on that? I can't remember what I ran on it originally. Oh, it was Endeavor OS. So I ran Endeavor OS on that for a while, and I was like, hey, why don't I just try the real thing? Because that's the whole thing about Arch. It's lightweight, customizable. So what if I just took this super lightweight laptop and just put Arch on it, so that way it would run better or whatever. And that's honestly how I learned the most about Linux. It was that laptop, because it had space, not space, like power. It didn't have that much power, so I kind of had to make do with what I had, and I had to optimize it the best I could. With the battery life, I had to get a new battery actually, but I had to make that thing as best as I could if I wanted to use it. So I learned a lot from that laptop. And here I was, I have three computers right now that I use on a regular basis. The MacBook Air I actually used as my primary school laptop.
Multiple lanes merging ahead.
But I eventually had to stop doing that because, I have to multitask in school, and it was not working. And I was running Sway on that thing, which is pretty lightweight. But even then, it was still, like, I'd have Zoom open, and I'd have whatever programming thing I had open, and 3 tabs on my web browser, and it was struggling. So I did eventually switch back to my other laptop. It's just, I'll put the model up here. It was a Lenovo, and nowadays I use the heck out of that thing. I use that thing so much. Yeah, I was running Catchy OS on my main PC, and then I was having fun, honestly, installing Arch. I did it a few times. I did it on that old ThinkPad, which eventually the motherboard fried, just because But I had installed Arch a few times on VMs too, and I was having fun doing it. Like, I was just enjoying the process of it. So I wiped my Catchy OS main rig, and I put vanilla Arch on it. I run Hyperland and KDE on that. And yeah, I just, like, at this point, I don't even play games anymore. If I do, I just play on my Xbox. So yeah, the gaming part doesn't even bother me anymore. I just don't play games, period. I don't have the time between school, and I'm still playing sports. I play baseball at school right now. And even when I do have time, all I want to do is mess with, tinker with something. So yeah, that's how I got into it. It was probably like the most natural progression that somebody could have, followed up by, just taking the plunge, which I think more people should do. I'm not an Adobe guy. Like, I don't do anything with Photoshop and whatever. And if I have a class that requires me to, then normally are just like, hey, run Adobe Express. And something really cool that I found, and you wouldn't notice it unless you were running Linux. My school, and I go to a major university, my school is very, forgiving to Linux users. An example of this, our Wi-Fi. You gotta you got to do some sign up. They gave me a bash script to sign up for the Wi-Fi, and I just thought that was awesome that they even thought about that. I'm probably one of the only people in my school that uses it as my daily driver laptop and main desktop, and still they have a script that I can run that lets me connect to their Wi-Fi. I think it's been really helpful in class. Cybersecurity, you're gonna have to use Linux. That's just the way it is. So when I have these assignments, I can knock them out in 20 minutes. My classmates are sitting there for an hour trying to figure out how to use Docker. That was one we had recently. But it's been helpful for my cyber classes because I can just roll right through it like this is second nature. Just because I use it every day, and it really does become easier, and it's not as intimidating as people may think. Sorry, somebody's honking back there. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of fell in love with the process of it, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really glad I made the switch. That's Windows 11 is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, in terms of career, as of right now, you know. But yeah, I don't think I really have anything else. If you guys want me to talk about how I do certain things, as a college student, because I have classmates that are like, hey, I could never do that, and I'm like, it's not that hard. Like, you just do it, same as you would anything else. So if you guys want to learn about, or not learn, if you want to hear about how I go about doing certain things, I can go into that in future videos, like as a student, because, you know, a lot of people will be like, hey, you shouldn't use Linux if you do this, but because I want to so bad, I'm finding workarounds for it that work just fine. I can go into tutorials too if it's wanted, but mostly I just wanted to speak my mind out here. I don't have anybody to talk to about this kind of stuff because nobody really cares. But maybe people on the internet would care. I'm sure I would listen to this if I was looking on YouTube. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, just tell me if you want to hear anything about what I do. And yeah.